to another video, and today I am going to be talking about Zwift powered inflation. This is a topic that I actually thought of recently when I was just going through the Zwift power rankings, and I saw how low the rankings were getting. And this is actually a pretty crazy thing because about a year ago, the lowest score was probably about double this. So it's actually kind of deflation because the scores are getting lower. But I think you get what I mean by that. And I'm going to be showing you how this is all working and why this is happening once we navigate to the Zwift Power site. Alright, so once you are on the Zwift Power site, the way to see the rankings is by going to rankings and then individual. Then you can see here, it brings up all the scores of the other riders, and you can see that all right here. So I'd say maybe a year ago, maybe if not, maybe even earlier than that. The lowest score was probably around 63, 64-ish, and it was held by some of these same riders. Joachim Lisson is one of the top riders in esports cycling, and he has been at the top for a really long time. Same with Ryoto Yamazaki from Next Percent by Insured. Next Percent by Insured kind of dominates this kind of Zwift power ranking system, and the reason why this is happening is because the way that Zwift's formula works is that it is using a lot of the top 5 riders in the race. This is scores, and then it takes the average and multiplies it by some ratio that makes the score slightly lower. So each time that this Zwifter Zwifts, it basically makes the score lower and lower every time they enter a very competitive race. And this is just even more so on Zwift than in real life, because it's actually the same system that USA Cycling uses for their cycling ranking system. But one of the things that restrains the inflation in real life in USA is that it's kind of hard to travel and race with some of the best. The top races only happen so often, and the top riders only meet so often because of traveling constraints, and the races don't happen every hour like on Zwift. So taking a look at this rider's profile, you can see just how low the scores have been recently. 38.94, and not even a gain because of how inflated the scores are. You can see that this has been going on for a long time, and they're just slowly getting lower and lower and lower, and some of these aren't even wins, and you're still getting scores in the 30s, which is absolutely insane. So as it goes, it basically takes the average. So say all the riders have an average of 40, you would multiply that by 0.9, I believe, and that would bring you to probably around 35-ish, 34. Not quite sure what the exact measure of that is, but it really does inflate the scores quite a bit as it goes, because if you take a look at, let's see, keep scrolling all the way to this time last year, around the high 60s, low 70s, you were getting gains of almost a point, which just shows how much the scores have changed in the past year, just because of how much more competitive esports has gotten, and how basically the dynamics of racing and finding the correct event to race in. Because if you look at these, they're all pretty much the same event. Zwift Insider Tiny races, KISS races, BL13 races. These riders kind of know where to go to get the best of the best competition and get the best gains possible. So that's sort of it for Zwift power inflation, and this is sort of a short video giving you a rundown of what I've noticed that's been happening. It's kind of just a Zwifty tidbit that I thought some of you racers would be interested in knowing about. Let me know what your thoughts on this system are below, and note that Zwift is also working to implement their own scoring system, so that actually might help this later on down the road. And we've seen other apps such as ZwiftRacing.app and they're using an innovative format to kind of use a similar system, but in a bit of a different way with a different scoring system. So you can kind of read about that in the links that I have in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and as always, see you all next time. Ride on.